Sophia Walker had always been an optimistic woman. She believed in love and partnership, in finding someone who would cherish her as much as she cherished them. When she met Nathan Carter 2 years ago, she thought she'd found that person. Nathan was charming, confident, and seemingly as invested in their relationship as she was. At first, their connection felt magical: long walks in the park, spontaneous road trips, movie nights filled with laughter. She felt seen, wanted, and appreciated. But now, as she stared at her phone, waiting for his reply to the third message she'd sent that day, the magic felt like a distant memory. Why isn't he answering? Sophia muttered to herself, her heart sinking. She scrolled up their chat history, noticing how sparse his messages had become over the past 2 weeks. Gone were the affectionate texts, the good morning love messages, the playful banter that once filled her days. In their place were short, dry replies, excuses about being busy, and worst of all, long stretches of silence. When Nathan finally called that evening, his tone was distant, almost irritated. "Sophia," he began, "we need to talk." Her stomach churned. Those 4 words were never good. "What's wrong?" she asked hesitantly. "It's just," he sighed. "You've been a little much lately. I feel like you're always around. I don't get any space to myself. You're constantly asking if I need you, if I still want to be with you. And honestly, it's exhausting." Sophia felt a lump form in her throat. "I just want to spend time with you," she said quietly. "We used to have so much fun together, and now it feels like you're pulling away." Nathan didn't deny it. "I think we just need some time apart," he said. "Maybe if we see each other less, we'll start to miss each other again." Time apart. The word stung, but Sophia was too afraid to push back. What if she argued and drove him even further away? What if he decided to leave her for good? She reluctantly agreed to give him space, hoping it would bring them closer in the end. But as the days turned into weeks, her worst fears began to creep into her mind. Nathan was pulling away, and Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that someone else might be pulling him closer. Sophia tried to keep herself busy in Nathan's absence. She threw herself into her job as a graphic designer, spent time with friends, and even picked up yoga to calm her restless mind. But nothing seemed to help. She couldn't stop thinking about him, where he was, what he was doing, who he might be with. Her insecurities only deepened when she noticed a pattern. Nathan had stopped initiating plans. When she suggested going to the movies or taking a walk, he claimed he was too tired. Their once regular dates had been reduced to rare meetings at his apartment, where he seemed distant, almost bored. "Am I boring him?" Sophia confided in her best friend, Emily. They were sitting at a cafe, and Sophia stirred her coffee absently. "I feel like I'm not enough anymore. He used to look at me like I was the only woman in the world. Now it's like I don't even exist." Emily frowned, leaning forward. "Soph, you're not boring. He's the one who's acting weird. Have you thought about the possibility that—" She hesitated. "That what?" Sophia pressed. "That maybe there's someone else," Emily said gently. "I'm not saying there is, but the way he's pulling away, the sudden lack of interest. It's worth considering." The thought hit Sophia like a punch to the gut. She wanted to dismiss it, to believe that Nathan would never betray her. But deep down, she couldn't ignore the nagging suspicion that Emily might be right. Her fears were confirmed a week later when she noticed something unusual on Nathan's social media. He posted a photo from a park, the same park where they used to go on their Sunday walks. In the background of the photo, barely visible, was a woman. She was sitting on a bench, her face turned slightly away, but something about her posture, the way she leaned toward the camera, made Sophia's blood run cold. She called Nathan immediately. "Who's the woman in your photo?" she demanded. "What woman?" he replied, his voice too casual. "The one in the background," Sophia pressed. "The one sitting on the bench. Were you with her?" Nathan sighed, clearly annoyed. "Sophia, you're overreacting. She was just some stranger at the park. I didn't even notice her." But Sophia didn't believe him. The way he dismissed her concerns, the irritation in his voice, it was all too familiar. It reminded her of her ex, the one who'd cheated on her years ago. The one who'd also claimed she was too much before she found out he was seeing someone else. That night, as she lay awake in bed, Sophia made a decision. She wasn't going to sit back and let history repeat itself. If Nathan was lying to her, she was going to find out the truth, even if it destroyed her. Sophia became a woman on a mission. She started paying closer attention to Nathan's behavior, to his excuses, to the subtle changes in his routine. She noticed that he was spending more time working late and less time responding to her texts. He'd also started carrying his phone with him everywhere, even to the bathroom, a habit he never had before. One evening, when Nathan was in the shower, Sophia's curiosity got the better of her. His phone buzzed on the nightstand, and she hesitated for only a moment before picking it up. The message on the screen made her stomach drop. Had an amazing time with you today. Can't wait to see you again. Red heart, Hannah. Her hands shook as she scrolled through the messages. They were filled with flirty banter, inside jokes, and plans to meet up. Nathan had even sent Hannah a photo of the park, the same one he'd posted on social media. Sophia's heart shattered as she realized Emily had been right all along. Nathan was cheating on her. She put the phone down just as Nathan emerged from the bathroom, a towel slung around his waist. "What's wrong?" he asked, noticing the look on her face. Sophia's voice trembled with fury. "Who is Hannah?" Nathan froze, his expression shifting from surprise to guilt. "Sophia, I can explain." "Don't you dare lie to me," she snapped. "I saw the messages, Nathan. I know everything." He sighed, running a hand through his wet hair. "Look, it's not what you think. Hannah and I are just friends." "Friends don't send heart emojis," Sophia shot back. "Friends don't go on secret dates behind their girlfriend's back." Nathan didn't respond. His silence was all the confirmation Sophia needed. She grabbed her things and stormed out of the apartment, tears streaming down her face. But as she walked home, a new emotion began to bubble beneath her heartbreak. Anger. Nathan had betrayed her, just like her ex. But this time, she wasn't going to let him get away with it. Sophia spent the next few days devising a plan. She wanted revenge, not just for herself, but for every woman who had ever been told she was too much or not enough by a man who didn't deserve her. Her first step was reaching out to Hannah. It wasn't hard to find her. Nathan had tagged her in a few photos on social media, and Sophia sent her a message under the guise of being a potential client. Hannah was a freelance photographer. They agreed to meet at a cafe, and when Sophia arrived, she recognized Hannah instantly. She was beautiful, with bright eyes and an infectious smile, the kind of woman who could light up a room. But as they started talking, it became clear that Hannah had no idea Nathan was in a relationship. "He told me he was single," Hannah said, her face pale. "I had no idea he was seeing someone else." Sophia felt a pang of sympathy for her. Hannah wasn't the enemy, Nathan was. But she needed Hannah's help to teach him a lesson. Sophia sat across from Hannah, her mind racing as they pieced together the timeline of Nathan's lies. As it turned out, Nathan had been seeing Hannah for almost 3 months. During the same period he'd been pulling away from Sophia. He had spun Hannah a tale of being single, lonely, and finally ready for something real. The same words he had once said to Sophia. "I feel so stupid," Hannah said, her voice trembling. "I really liked him. I thought he was different." "You're not stupid," Sophia said firmly. "He's the one who's wrong. He's been playing both of us. But we're not going to let him get away with it." Hannah's brows furrowed. "What do you mean?" Sophia leaned forward, her eyes gleaming with determination. "We're going to make him pay. Not by hurting him, but by making him realize what he's done. He thinks he can treat us like we're disposable, like we don't matter. It's time to show him he's wrong." Hannah hesitated, but then a small smile tugged at her lips. "What do you have in mind?" Over the next week, Sophia and Hannah worked together to execute their plan. It was risky, but they were united in their desire to expose Nathan for who he truly was. Every detail was carefully calculated to ensure maximum impact and maximum humiliation. It began with Hannah reaching out to Nathan, pretending everything was fine. She invited him to meet her at a trendy new restaurant for dinner, claiming she had something special planned for him. Nathan, ever the egotist, eagerly agreed. At the same time, Sophia texted Nathan, asking if she could come over that evening to talk. As expected, he responded with his usual excuses. He was busy with work and couldn't see her. Sophia wasn't surprised, but it still stung. The stage was set. The restaurant was crowded that Friday night, buzzing with laughter and the clinking of glasses. Nathan arrived, dressed to impress, with his signature cocky smile. He spotted Hannah at a table near the back and made his way over, leaning down to kiss her cheek. You look beautiful, he said, sliding into the seat across from her. Thanks, Hannah replied, her smile tight. I'm glad you came. Tonight's going to be memorable. Nathan raised an eyebrow, but before he could ask what she meant, another figure appeared at the table. Sophia. Nathan's face went pale. Sophia? What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing, Sophia said, folding her arms as she stared him down. She felt her heart pounding in her chest, but she refused to let him see her falter. Enjoying a romantic evening with just a friend. Nathan looked between the two women, his mind clearly scrambling for an excuse. This isn't what it looks like, he stammered. I can't explain. Oh, we'd love to hear it. Hannah cut in, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Go ahead, Nathan. Explain how you've been dating both of us at the same time. Explain how you lied to me about being single, and how you lied to Sophia about needing space. Nathan opened his mouth, then closed it again, his usual charm failing him. For once, he had nothing to say. The confrontation drew the attention of nearby diners, and Nathan squirmed under their curious gazes. Sophia didn't care. Let them watch. Let them see him for the liar he was. You told me I was too much, Sophia said, her voice shaking with emotion. That I didn't give you enough space. But the truth is, you just didn't want me to notice that you were using that space to cheat on me. Nathan's jaw tightened, but he still didn't respond. He looked like a cornered animal, desperate for a way out. I trusted you, Hannah said, her voice rising. I thought you were different. But you're just like every other jerk who thinks he can have his cake and eat it too. Sophia pulled out her phone and held up the messages she'd found. In case you think we're bluffing, here's the proof. You really should be more careful about leaving your phone lying around. Nathan's face turned red with embarrassment as he realized the trap he'd walked into. Look, I messed up, he said finally. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean to hurt either of you. Sorry, Sophia repeated, her voice incredulous. You're only sorry because you got caught? Nathan tried to defend himself, but Hannah cut him off. You don't deserve either of us, Nathan. And you know what? You're going to be the one who ends up alone. With that, both women stood and walked out of the restaurant, leaving Nathan behind to deal with the stares and whispers of the other diners. Sophia felt a wave of relief as she stepped into the cool night air. She'd done it. She'd taken back her power,